I was just telling Allison that I finished a 3 hour show today, one after another, without realizing it had become a show. And that meant I was on straight for 4 hours, which is fine, first world problems. And then I'm like, maybe I've done enough for the day. And then I said, but I want to talk to a veteran. I really want to talk to someone who's actually served, unlike Donald Trump, the man who literally bragged about avoiding STDs as his personal Vietnam. That's what he said. A man who got his rich daddy to give him a fake diagnosis of bone spurs, a man who squandered $400 million of his daddy's wealth, a man who's lived in luxury and whiteness, and that has allowed him to fail up, also thanks to Russian money and celebrity, and who came out today as the main speaker before the amuse-bouche known as Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, a man who has been accused of sexual assault, a man who's been accused of alcoholic and economic impropriety, a man whose own mother has accused him of being a sex predator. That man who has an 04 rank compared to his previous colleagues, excuse me, his predecessors, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who had an 010 rank, Secretary of Mattis, who had an 010 rank. This Pete Hegseth, of course, his experience was being a Fox News host. So they came out today, and what seemed like should have been a scene out of Dr. Strangelove or a parody of Patton, but is unfortunately real life, came out, got all the top U.S. generals, Allison, in one room. Totally safe thing to do, by the way. And then what should have been a Signal Gate message did a rah, rah, rah speech for 40 minutes saying batshit stuff, talking about the military and not being woke, F around and find out, mocking transgender folks, talking about Viking Nordic culture, erasing it. And then Donald Trump came out, and what gave me some joy in this just depressing and terrifying ordeal was that these generals, the highest ranking generals, men, mostly men and some women, who have devoted their life to service, who have given fidelity and loyalty to the Constitution, they did not applaud, Allison. And that gave me some joy. And you have actually served, unlike Donald Trump. So I really wanted to hear from a veteran what today's spectacle and bullshit felt like watching as an American.
Well, thank you for having me on. Let me just make some disclosures here. I served in the first Gulf War, but I wasn't even in the war. Like, I'm a first Gulf War veteran, and the way that we designate ourselves, you're either Vietnam veteran, World War II veteran, Korea, first Gulf War, or post 9/11, OEF, OIF, right? So I'm first Gulf War. But I wasn't even in the war. I was only in for a couple years. It was in the 90s. Okay, it was under Clinton, so mostly we read books. I went to nuclear power school. And I wasn't an O4, I was an E4. So even Hegseth way outranked me in my very brief career in the military. So I just wanted to lay that out there for you. But despite all that, I know
But
that
you served.
I know what Hegseth asked for today is a violation of the laws of that govern war. To get up on stage and say you don't have to worry anymore about like we can talk a lot if you want about Hegseth's history with ignoring the laws of war and wanting to kill civilians abroad, and Trump's history of pardoning people who have violated the Geneva Convention and have killed civilians, particularly in post 9/11 conflicts. But even I know, you can't ignore the laws, and we're seeing that happen. Where that with Stephen Miller and his bombing of Venezuelan boats, for example, is a great example of this. So going into all of that, the reason I got out of the military was because I was sexually assaulted, and something else that stood out to me personally in Pete's speech was that there's no more channels to report those things.
There you go.
No more anonymous reports. No more hiding if you want to file a grievance against somebody. And it was already difficult enough to report what happened to me. I was actually talked out of it. I was threatened with court-martial because my rapist was married, and that means that I committed adultery. It was already hard enough. And so people have been working, including myself and folks in Congress, like Kirsten Gillibrand, to get the Military Justice Improvement Act passed, which gave a separate group of people outside of the chain of command a place where you could go and report safely if you were harassed or assaulted. So he's blowing all of that up, and that is to get people to leave the military and prevent people like me from joining. Wokesters,
Yep, yep.
or what, people who don't like to be raped. Not wanting to be raped is woke now, just so you know. So that he's stripping away all of those protections for people. But to go out and say, "Hey, everybody, you kill people and break things for a living," and that's a direct quote. He says, "I'm going to let you do that unfettered. You don't have to worry about violating any of the Geneva Convention or whatever." And that was the crux of what he told these generals. It was what I was expecting him to talk about, as the Washington Post reported ahead of the meeting, that he was going to be talking about his warrior ethos, which in his mind is the ability to just indiscriminately kill whoever you want without any due process. And now to send that group of people with that state of mind into American cities to battle the enemy from within, which we all also warned was going to happen prior to the election. Uh, in fact, The Hill said Kamala Harris was lying when
Mm.
she said that Donald Trump was going to send the army after U.S. citizens. It is a recipe for disaster, and again, shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who's been listening to you and I talk about his intentions.
Nope.
He's long wanted to shoot since the George Floyd protest. He wanted to shoot people in the knees. Can't we just shoot him in the knees?
Yep.
And Mark Esper was like, No, you can't just do that." And so Mark Esper out, Christopher Miller in, and somebody who was more amenable to the Insurrection Act, which is what he was trying to pull there on January 6th. So that's where we are. We don't have the guardrails. We don't have the adults in the room. We don't have General Mattis. We don't have Mark Milley. We fired anybody who's Black or a woman or a person of color from any leadership positions just based on that alone. And now they get everybody in a room and say, "If you're not with us, you're against us, and get the fuck out if you don't believe in indiscriminately killing people and possibly drawing your weapons on citizens that we consider to be terrorists in anarchic jurisdictions." So I'm very
Al-
worried for the safety of the public and civilians and citizens and non-citizens alike who do have First Amendment protections just as citizens do. And here we are. And that's my main worry, is that, I would no longer recommend anybody join the military. But what that means is that what's left of our military is a bunch of sycophant, ass-kissing, bootlicker, goose-stepping, thug, drunk, wife-beating fuckfaces. And that is who is going to be out in our cities, keeping the peace from the Antifa domestic terrorists.
Gestapo brown shirt shitheads with MAGA hats who are part of an Animal House type of frat bro military. And Allison is not exaggerating, folks. I'm going to quote you what Pete Hegseth, who just cosplays, does not have the respect of the military, is more and more manic, as has been reported by the Daily Beast. There have been leaks inside the White House. Apparently, that's what Lev Parnas alleges. It's Susan Wiles. He's been doing his own purging. He has an O4 rank. His predecessor, a black man, had an O10 rank. He said, quote, "We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement." End quote. That's an exact quote. And he said that to military generals, men and women who literally, unlike him, have experienced immense warfare, boots on the ground, seen their colleagues killed, have sent soldiers to die, are educated, know about America's reputation and the rule of war, right? This is what he's saying to them. He literally said, F-A-F-O, F around and find out. He was expecting some hooting and hollering. Silence. He fat shamed the military. Silence. Made fun of transgender soldiers. Silence, right? Basically a white nationalist frat bro speech given by Pete Hegseth, and then Donald Trump comes out, and Allison, what you and I have said, hell, we said it yesterday, I think. Gosh, today, Tuesday. Yeah, we talked yesterday. Is he is setting up martial law because literally here, what they're saying is this is a new terms of engagement. We're a white nationalist frat bro. And what was, in addition to what was so scary, is that Donald Trump said that troops are going to use American cities as military training grounds. American cities as military training grounds. And he would straighten out these cities one by one. Folks, that's a word too. It's a word from within. We have to handle it before it gets out of control. And speaking about war from within, oh, it reminds me of the quote that Donald Trump said in October, where he quoted Hitler, where he promised to unleash the National Guard and the military from enemy at the enemy from within. So now you have the military, the National Guard, ICE cracking skulls in LA, nation's capital in Portland. You have trumped up terrorist organizations called Antifa. You have the national security memo that Glenn Klippenstein got a hold of, saying that they're treating anti-capitalist, anti-Christian speech as indicators of left-wing violent extremism. You have them scrubbing the DOJ of the fact that right-wing terrorism is the number one domestic terror threat. And you have this war in Venezuela, which people aren't paying attention to, where Trump unilaterally declared without evidence that these drug dealers, we still don't know if they're drug dealers, were terrorists, and then he killed them without due process. You
They're
connect
not,
all.
by the way. Their families are coming forward saying that,
There you go.
my husband was a fisherman.
And the boat
So
was turning around. New York Times said the boat was turning around. Once they saw that they were being trailed, they
yeah.
still blew them.
And if you see how much distance there is between where that boat was coming from and the United States of America and all of the little places to go in between those two things, to assume that it was coming to the United States is also stupid and ridiculous. And the zero due process. And that's what Pete Hegseth was doing today, is saying, hey, go ahead and blow shit up, break things, kill people. You don't need any cause to do anything like that. And a couple other things that he said that caught my attention is when he said he's stripping away certain standards for certain jobs in the military, which will eliminate women from most combat roles.
Wow.
Basically, like, okay, woman who joins the military, you need to do more sit-ups than a man because you're better at sit-ups, and men can do more push-ups than a woman because men are better at push-ups. That's how you meet your PT requirements, for example. Nope, it's the same for everybody across the board now, and so that's going to eliminate women from a lot of jobs in the military and combat particularly. And the other thing that he said was, as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is naive and dangerous. And Aaron Reichlin Melnick pointed out, war is peace is one of the three core slogans of the fascist government in the book 1984. And it's damn chilling to see the Secretary of Defense demanding that the U.S. Armed Forces adopt it as truth. George Orwell wrote that book as a cautionary tale, drawing on, yes, history. I had a bumper sticker on my car in high school that said, fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. This is now the warrior, part of the warrior ethos. And I was certain he was going to deliver that message, among other things. But didn't predict that he would be getting rid of the standards, for males or females to eliminate women from combat positions. Didn't see that coming. I did know that they were going to completely dismantle the ability to report sexual assault because
Mm.
they've long wanted to get rid of that and put it back in the hands of the chain of command. And to quash it from happening, and actually, better yet, just to get women out of the military altogether, so that because it's our fault that the men are tempted to rape us, and any other viewpoint is woke. So that's those were my main takeaways from this speech.
Only those. Look, it is, imagine drunken frat boy sexual assaulter Pete Hegseth getting to design his own military in a Call of Duty video game campaign where he's sitting like a loser, drinking beer in the couch, talking to his other rapey frat bros on a headset. But imagine now that guy's a Secretary of Defense. That's what you just saw right now, right? A bunch of wannabe cosplaying white Christian nationalist warriors who live in a perpetual frat where they can rape and assault and kill with impunity, where they demand loyalty and demand respect because they have power, because they know they actually don't have the respect and loyalty of the military, which again, folks, increasingly the last couple of months, more and more reports have come out that the military does not respect Pete Hegseth. And Daily Beast came out yesterday with an article, said that he's getting more and more manic, right? And this is a sign, Allison, of all the scary shit that you said, and it's all scary. It's very scary, folks. It's everything we've warned about. It's the, Danielle and I were talking, and 11 and I were talking earlier today, and we said it's the world's worst I told you so. We get no joy from this. I would love to be proven wrong. I'll say again what I've been saying for months because I take Trump literally and seriously, and I've been looking at the evidence of my eyes and ears. This mother effer ain't leaving. By any illegal means necessary, he is not leaving. He's going to stay. He will either die in office or you will have to force him out. He has his 2028 hats. He's looking for Ragstack fires every week. The Ragstack fires didn't catch. The Charlie Kirk fire didn't catch. The anti-ice bullets didn't catch. So now he's just making up shit. He brought the military from their actual posts where they're doing actual work for them to face and confront a manufactured enemy in crisis, which is the Ragstack fire moment for them, instead of talking about domestic terrorism, mass shooting. Just look at the weekend, folks. Look what happened in Michigan. Look what happened in North Carolina. Look what happened in Texas. All white guys. All white guys. And those are just a couple. There were multiple mass shootings, right? But they've scrubbed it. They've scrubbed that, instead have concentrated on the left. So what we have been saying and warning about is this was, as the midterms were rolling in, but I think now he realizes, because he's completely underwater. If you see the New York Times article, you saw that, I'm sure, Allison, the poll numbers are terrible. And another poll came out, Allison, today, that in the 7 swing states that he won, he's negative double digits in all of them, except Arizona. He's -7. Everything else, he's pretty much negative double digits, like especially the Midwest states. The Latino voters have fled. Young voters have fled. They have hemorrhaging everywhere. They're putting bandages on everything. So my fear, Allison, well, there's both a positive and a negative. The positive is these generals didn't take the bait. They weren't impressed. They didn't applaud. They didn't hoot. They didn't holler. They looked embarrassed and pissed, number one. And number two, it seems that this is, to me, all of it was a sign of weakness. No secure man comes out and acts like Pete Hegseth. That is an insecure man trying to mask his weakness. And I think this is now a weak regime, which is like a cornered rat becoming more and more desperate and violent. Your take?
Yeah, no, and that's that's our end, is that this regime is weak. They're trying to consolidate power so quickly because they know they only have a short window to do it because of us, right? And as Pete Buttigieg said, Trump is far less popular than he wants you to believe, and you have far more power than he wants you to know. And that's what we have to use. And I'm also interested to see what our electeds do with the funding resolution. Trump actually, I've been saying Trump wants a shutdown. He wants to shut down the government. He wants to use it as Democrats as a scapegoat for all the shitty shit that he's going to do over the next couple months that he would do anyway, even if the government were funded.
He's already doing. He's
And
already doing.
And he said just maybe about 45 minutes ago, he admitted it. He said, quote, "A lot of good can come from a shutdown. We can get rid of a lot of things we don't want, and they're Democrat things." So he wants this shutdown. He said it. We know it. We know the Republicans don't need a single Democratic vote.
Nope.
And the reason that everyone says, "Oh, well, the filibuster." Look, just 12 days ago, the Republicans changed the rule on 60 vote cloture so that they could ram through 48 Trump appointees at one time. They have no problem poking holes in the filibuster. They do it. They just did it 10 to 12 days ago. They can do that here. If they want to do a temporary rule to pass a continuing resolution with a simple vote, they can change the rules in the Senate to pretty much be whatever they want them to be. You only need 51 votes to change those rules. So they do not need us. They're
Nope.
using the filibuster as an excuse to say that Democrats hold the cards here. We do not. They do. And if they wanted to fund the government, if it was that important to them, they could. They do not want to fund the government. Mike Johnson shut it down, took everybody home early because he doesn't want to fund this government. And they're doing that because they want to stop the courts. They want to stop accountability from the only branch left that's willing to do any accountability. And it's judicial accountability, so it's not like you could put anybody in jail or anything like that. But you know, to maybe put temporary restraining orders in place to stop the National Guard from going to Portland, for example. These civil matters, because the court continues on criminal matters, but not civil matters. So the indictment of James Comey won't be impacted, but anything that has to do with civil matters could be shut down. And they don't want that. They don't want to release the Epstein files. They don't want
Nope.
to be there. They want to use it as an excuse for all the stuff that they were going to do and have been doing. They want to be able to blame Democrats for. And what I am hopeful for, like you were hopeful that the group of flag officers wasn't applauding or hooting or hollering, I am thankful that the folks who don't pay too much attention to how the sausage is made in the Senate, nobody's sitting around their kitchen table tomorrow after they're on furlough or not getting their paycheck going, gosh, if only 7 Democrats hadn't voted for cloture before they moved to a floor vote for a simple majority, everything would be fine. No, they're going, everything fucking sucks and the Republicans are in charge. Those are the 2 facts that are going to be in their heads. And that's what I'm hanging on to. I know, everybody watching this knows how the sausage is made, but most people, they're just worried about feeding their families
Yep.
and getting health care and being able to not go bankrupt if one of their family members gets sick. That's what they care about, being able to afford their insulin. Preserving democracy, the fact that their neighbors are getting snatched by ICE off the streets, their friends and family, people who work at their schools, people who work in their neighborhoods. That's what they're worried about. The fact that our vegetables are going to go through the roof without some sort of farm subsidy because China won't buy our soybeans because of Trump's tariffs. That's what they know.
Mm.
That their Department of Education is being dismantled. That's what they know. They don't care that 6 or 7 or 8 Democrats voted for cloture to get something to the floor to keep the government open. What they know is the Republicans are in charge of the Senate, the House, and the White House. And bad shit that happens when they're in charge is their fault. And that's what I'm counting on as we go into 2026 and,
Well,
all the upcoming elections that we have.
that's the poll. The poll so far shows that what's come out is, let's see, but Democrat leadership always does find a way to F up, is that the majority of Americans are blaming Republicans. Why? Republicans have the White House, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the Supreme Court, they have the media. And all Democrats need to say is they have the votes. Why are they not voting to keep the government open? Why are they, by the way, did you know that they're also voted to destroy your Medicaid? Also, do you approve of them snatching brown and black folks, your neighbors? A majority of Americans are no longer approve of it. Donald Trump is negative double digits in the economy, on inflation, on the tariffs. He's negative across the board. He has the lowest favorability rating of any president in the first 8 months since Donald Trump #1. He's hemorrhaging voters. And this is where you need a unified effort by the Democrats to just stand firm. Stand firm, right? Because the economy is getting worse, Allison. The price of beef has gone up. The price of groceries have gone up. The price of furniture has gone up. And plus, the women, the survivors, have said, all right, we got the names. We'll drip, drip, drip the names. So even if they shut down the government, folks, it's not like the Epstein files is going to go away anywhere.
Oh,
And
the Ro Khanna has 8,500 pages minus 6 because he's already released 6 that he got from the Epstein estate, and those didn't get scrubbed by Pam Bondi and 1,000 FBI agents and Kash Patel. Those are straight. Those are straight from the Epstein estate. And he said, we'll release those as soon as they're going through to make sure that they're protecting the identities of the survivors. They're working with survivors because nobody on Trump's side of the aisle has given a shit what's going on with the survivors. They were left out of the 2006 sweetheart deal. They weren't informed that Ghislaine Maxwell was being moved to a low security prison. They've been left out of the Trump trying to get the 76 pages of testimony for a grand jury in the Epstein and Maxwell case released. They have been left out by Trump at every step of the way. And Ro Khanna and Democrats on that oversight committee are like, we refuse to leave the victims out of this. And we're going to make sure that all of their information and anything they want kept from the public is kept from the public because that is their number one concern is these survivors and making sure that people are held accountable. So that's not going away. You don't need to call Congress into session and have a quorum for the Democrats on that committee to keep releasing these Epstein files. It's not going away as much as Mike Johnson wants it to, and probably his adopted son, whose porn app is probably going off like gangbusters recently with all of this.
It is interesting. But speaking about this, I have to bring it up. Did you see on social media that there is a gentleman alleging that he has Mike Johnson's Grinder account and he has the IP address linking to Mike Johnson. And if Mike Johnson does not allow the vote, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Adelita Grijalva is a progressive Democrat who won her election, special election in Arizona. But guess what? If she gets sworn in, you now have 218 votes. You have enough votes for the bipartisan, massive kind of effort to release the Epstein files. So guess what Mike Johnson is doing? He's not swearing her in, folks. He's punting it because if she gets sworn in, she has already said, yep, I'm going to vote to release the files. And so there's this gentleman on Twitter and TikTok and social media yesterday, straight up looks at the camera and says, Mike Johnson, if you don't swear her in, if you don't get that 218th vote to release the Epstein files, I'm going to share. And then, usually people say, oh, don't like out people. But the LGBT folks are like, just release it. Out them.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, man, like, why is this the line? Why didn't you release it when he defunded PEPFAR? Why didn't you release it when he defunded USAID that's gonna kill hundreds of thousands of children? Um, to me, that's like,
Maybe he didn't have it. I don't know. I don't know the details.
who's the guy that, sat on his book for a year and a half until after the election? After the
Woodward.
Yeah, Woodward. Who are you, Bob Woodward? You're just gonna sit on the COVID conversations with Trump for a year and a half and then release do it now. If you have his grinder shit, everybody, do it now. Don't wait. Don't hold it hostage. That's just my 2 cents. I think
Can I ask
that's
you this?
hilarious.
Can I ask you this about this? Because I remember, I really, because it shows you the what actually hurts Trump? What actually hurts MAGA, right? Inciting a violent insurrection? Meh. Lying? Meh. Fraud? Eh. Racism? Meh. Charlie Kirk, he did politics the right way. I remember Mark Robinson, who was running in Louisiana, right, for governor last year. And Mark Robinson, the black man running for Louisiana, it was revealed that he compared himself to Black Hitler. He said he would have slaves. It was revealed that he was such a frequenter to that adult site that someone recognized him.
Talk to his
He,
sister, wife,
yeah,
or his
yeah.
wife's sister. Excuse me.
Committed adultery, literally threatened violence against Democrats from the pulpit. All of this was fine. Was revealed he was like a porn addict. All of it was fine. Do you remember, Allison? I never forget this. Do you remember what killed his campaign? When it was revealed that he was into transgender porn.
Yep. 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 Same. Look back at Madison Cawthorn. Same thing. Except it wasn't
Massive.
transgender porn. It was same-sex cousin humping. I don't know.
Yeah, so
It was
all I'm
weird. It
saying
was
is,
weird.
listen, I know folks, like, and the reason is you do what you want to do, live your life. Alice and I'm very confident, agree in that. Do what you got to do. It's the hypocrisy, and it's the hypocrisy of these individuals using their power to go against these vulnerable, marginalized communities, especially transgender people, while they're the ones allegedly doing this ish. And they're a story, like literally, folks. Every 2 days, there's a story. Every 2 days, Ryan Walters has to resign, Oklahoma school superintendent, because he was straight up like accidentally shared graphic porn images during a parent meeting, right? There's story after story after story. So if Epstein is the one, and Alice and I and a few others have been saying, Lev and I have been saying since the summer, Epstein. Democrats do not let go of Epstein. First and foremost, you want accountability for all the girls who were raped, who are women. You want accountability for all the powerful men, not just Epstein, who are part and parcel of this sex trafficking ring. And number three, it is the only thing, Allison, despite we just spent 30 minutes talking about the absolute batshit terrifying frat bro, rah, 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 Hegseth rally today, the only thing that is unifying more than 80% of Republicans, Democrats, MAGA folks, and independents is release the Epstein files. It's the one thing uniting all Americans in this divided country.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. It's the hypocrisy of, because I'm not kink shaming. In fact, being a trad wife, I'm sorry to tell you, that's kink. So, do you, live your life, do what you wanna do. Freedom, freedom, let freedom ring.
It's
It's
also
ringing.
costume, right? It's like cosplaying, costume, it's got all the kinks.
It's kink. That is kink. I'm sorry, that is kink. And anybody's ever role played trad wife before? Come on. Come on. Um, that is I mean, that's
What
no
did you
j
do tonight, honey? I hunted elk and killed him myself and made burgers for you while wearing this apron. He goes, "We gotta go bone right now."
This it's the thing, like, hey, those are 50 Shades that is the market for 50 Shades of Grey, okay? I'm just gonna, leave it at that. Although you should read Anne Rice's Sleeping Beauty trilogy, it's far better, but I digress. Um, before I take off here, I do have to go. I have to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hop
No,
on
thank
to
you.
write the Daily Beans, which is free wherever you get your podcasts if you wanna get all your news and, wanna maintain your sanity, because we have appropriate profanity. Hey, that rhymes. Listen to the Daily Beans. It's free wherever you get podcasts. I gotta go make that show, but I just wanna let everybody know, don't let them gaslight you.
Mm.
The Republicans can keep this government open if they want. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't take the bait. If the military comes into your city, don't throw rocks at them. Don't engage. Do peaceful sit-in. Do a peaceful protest to make your voices heard. We're gonna do No Kings 2 on October 18th. I've been invited to speak at the one in San Diego
Nice.
again, so I'm very excited about that. Very excited to march with. Last time we had 75,000 people at that particular No Kings rally. I think No Kings 2, I hope will be bigger. And just make sure to do what you can in your neck of the woods. Don't try to solve everything because you will end up feeling helpless. Like I always do my hoarders comparison. When you walk into a hoarder's house or you watch the hoarders show, you just wanna be like, "I don't even know where to start," and walk out. Just walk to the back room in the back corner and just start in one little corner with one tiny thing. Focus on that. Best resistance is focused resistance, whether it's postcarding for Prop 50 or maybe text banking for Prop 50, that's a great place to start. If you're able to go out into big crowds, I know a lot of people, sometimes aren't able to do that because of disabilities and accessibility, but if you're able, go out, make a sign, have a sign making party,
Yep.
join your local Trouble Nation Red Wine and Blue group so that you can meet every month and either have dinner or do postcards or do something or just be around like minded people. Find that community. Don't let them isolate you and keep the pressure up. We knew that there wasn't going to be much we'd be able to do if they controlled all the levers of the government, which they do. And so we can't wait for somebody to come and save us. We
Nope.
can't have a DNC grow us a candidate in a lab. We have to elect our candidates. We have to put them up. We have to do the stuff in the primaries. And then we have to vote for whoever that candidate is all the way up and down the ballot to stop what's going on here. And it's always been us. I've been saying since the Mueller days
Yep.
that Mueller's not gonna save us, Garland's not gonna save us, Jack Smith's not gonna save us. We have to do that. It's our democracy, and we can't wait for someone else to do it, and we can't get mad that someone else isn't doing it for us. It's us. We gotta do it. That's my final word.
Amen. No notes. There's no need for me to follow up except to plug Allison. Allison Gill is of Muller She Wrote, and she also is the host of Daily Beans podcast, where you get your politics, Cliff Notes version with swear words and some comedy every day. She also hosts like 32,000 videos a week for Midas Touch now. She also publishes at MullerSheWrote.com. Like me, she's a terrible capitalist. We're independent. We keep everything for free, no paywalls whatsoever. However, she needs to eat. So if you have a few dollars, please give her a paid subscribership. It goes a long way. If you have a few dollars left after that, then give it to me because, as you all know, I have 800 kids. I need to feed some of them. But if not, at least become a free subscriber. It's all free, folks. And if you're watching
And
this on YouTube,
possibly 3 cats. You might have a 3rd cat.
I have 3 kids. I have 2 cats, and I will not lie that today I called a shelter because my daughter, it's her birthday, and she said, well, 3 kids needs 3 cats. And I'm a person who went from 0 cats to one cat, and then I went to the shelter and got Billu, then two cats, and now I'm the one researching three cats, and this is what happens, kids. But the cats like me. Billu does like me. The two
You
cats do
don't
like.
need kids to do that and collect cats, by the way. I can attest to that.
I got so three kids. Maybe there might be a third cat. Maybe we'll see. Folks, this is the Left Hook, and thank you to Allison who jumped on. I really wanted to speak to someone who served, and Allison did serve. She served more than Donald Trump. She's a veteran, damn it. So, folks, subscribe to Mueller She Wrote, subscribe to the Left Hook. We'll see you all tomorrow. Be kind, be decent, and please, oh, please don't be a fascist. Take care.